Hello students, and welcome back to the second part of our grammar module this week. This is revising for conciseness. Revising for clarity and getting rid of ambiguity is sort of like sharpening for precision, improving your aim and improving the sharpness of a tool for more precision in your message, whereas revising for conciseness is more like weeding a garden that's overgrown and getting rid of the fluffy excess words. Very common issue with writing in both college and the workplace, right into all kinds of professional and business writing, is things like needless repetition, redundancy, wordy phrases, and the like. So conciseness, editing for conciseness corrects these problems so you can advance your meaning more quickly. And when you add that with writing with clarity, the two of them, you're writing clear sentences that only require a single reading and without any wasted words. It's no wordy, repetitive extra sentences or words or phrases and this kind of thing. Then you have what we call fluent writing. But rather than carrying on about that, let me just go through conciseness so you can get it. This is a little easier to get than the ambiguity exercises overall. But okay, revising for most people, for revising for conciseness, you have two kinds. The opposite of conciseness would be wordiness, right? You have two kinds of wordiness. One occurs when readers receive information they don't need. Think of an overly detailed weather report. The other kind occurs when readers read too many words, when they have too many words that are used to convey information readers do need, okay? So, concise information conveys the information in the fewest words, but it does not omit details necessary for clarity. So you want to make sure you don't cut too much out, right? Or lose the original meaning in tightening things up. Avoid wordiness. The following wordy phrases on the left can be replaced with one or two words on the right, creating leaner prose. So once you see these examples, I think you get an idea of what I mean by wordiness and how it's very sneaky because it doesn't necessarily look grammatically incorrect, but basically it's excess writing, and you lose your reader, especially in a long document, because you're just saying so much to get the message out. And that's what you got to clean up. Here are some examples. At a rapid rate. Rapidly. The majority of. Most. Readily apparent. Obvious. Aware of the fact that. I know. In close proximity. Near. Okay. Oops. Didn't mean to jump that fast. And there's a whole bunch more wordy phrases, but that's just a sampling of it. Okay. So. Eliminate redundancy. Redundant phrases are saying the same things repeatedly with different words or similar words maybe. For instance, this is a redundant sentence. It was dark in the forest at night. The sky was pitch black. There were no stars. We could not see 2 feet in front of us. Now, you don't want to write like this in a report. You just get to the point. This kind of writing might be appropriate to some degree in fiction, writing fiction, because you're re-emphasizing things, and of course you'd be a lot more creative than these sentences as well, and start adding metaphors. But for professional writing, if it's dark, you want to just let everybody know it's dark, or it's impossible. It's so dark it's impossible to see, or something. Okay, without a light source. So, okay, but that's what we call redundant. Okay, each sentence is kind of saying the same thing with different words. Examples of redundant phrases. There's a lot more than this, and sentences can be redundant. Follow-up sentences can be redundant, but this is just a smattering of what redundancy looks like. A dead corpse. Think about that. You just say a corpse. A corpse is obviously dead, right? Completely eliminate. The artillery eliminated the enemy, right? You don't have to say completely. Basic essentials. Well, let's get down to essentials. Let's get down to basics, okay? The month of August, right? During the month of August. No, it's just during August, okay? During September, okay? End result. Same thing, right? The result of the study was, most that kind of thing. Result is a stronger word. And there's a lot more too. A fact of reality is very redundant. You just say it's a fact or it's reality. So pretty common issue, redundancy. And here's another one: needless repetition. Avoid repeating the same words to get your meaning out. Fewer words, if written well, advance the meaning quicker. See the example below, which I'll show you in a moment. Now, needless repetition, again, super common redundancy and repetition, especially when you're drafting. I know when I'm doing a draft and I've written lengthy stories, and a lot of times in the first page or two, when I'm trying to get my ideas and meaning all together, and I go through my first edit, I will find a lot of redundancy and repetition, and I tighten it up quite a lot. And I won't say everyone drafts that way, but I find out a number of people do. So if you're editing and thinking about these things, you should be able to clean it up easy. But let's look at the example of needless repetition, kind of a clinical example. In trauma victims, breathing is restored by artificial respiration. Techniques of artificial respiration include mouth-to-mouth respiration and mouth-to-nose respiration. That is an exhausting sentence to get the meaning out. Look, how many times did you say respiration? 4 times in 2 sentences. Artificial, you said twice. So observe a cleaned up sentence underneath. In trauma victims, breathing is restored by artificial respiration, either mouth-to-mouth or mouth-to-nose. You only said artificial respiration once. Look how much leaner it is. It gets the meaning out quickly without having to work so hard. Okay? Or waste space for that matter. Okay? Onward. Their sentence openers. Dropping these openers places the key words at sentence end where they are best emphasized. It's using there are, there is just a weak kind of opening, especially if you're doing it a lot. For instance, there is a danger of explosion in number 2 mine shaft. So take there is out of there, and what kind of naturally happens in the reconstruction of the sentence? Number 2 mine shaft is in danger of exploding. See? Now, a similar thing happens with it sentence openers, although you don't necessarily re-emphasize the sentence, because it can act as a pronoun, as a referent. So avoid using it at the opening of a sentence unless it clearly points to a specific referent in the preceding sentence. This paper is excellent, for example. It deserves special recognition. So that it is purposeful and tied to the previous sentence well. So I'll show you a bad one here. It was his bad attitude that got him fired. In this case, you can just get rid of it was, it in the weak verb there. Revised and concise on the bottom. His bad attitude got him fired. Much leaner sentence. Okay? Needless prefaces. Very common. I see these a lot in the first memo when students write, I am writing this memo because. Well, it says memorandum right in the top, and it's in a memo format. You don't really have to say I'm writing this memo or I'm writing this letter. It's obvious to the reader. You can get right to the point, okay? Instead of delaying, get right to the point. For instance, I am writing this letter because I wish to apply for the position of electrical engineer. Okay. Revised. Please consider me for the position of electrical engineer. Much leaner, much stronger, more direct sentence. Okay? And I'll impress your readers more. Get right to the point. Especially for job-related stuff like that, right? So, make negatives positive. Positive expressions are easier to understand and more direct than negative ones. For instance, please do not be late in submitting your report. Please submit your report on time. Did not succeed, failed, does not have, lacks, did not prevent, allowed, not until, only when. Positive expression, easier to understand. Okay? Not only, also, and. Triteness, cliches. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these because I see them once in a while, but just worn out cliched expressions. They'll, means the writer's too lazy or careless to find better ways to say it, and here they are. You can reference that list all you want. So make the grade, chips are down, close the deal, they really stick out in writing, so you can get away with them in conversation a bit. Combine sentences for fluency. I'm going a little fast because I have to keep a 10-minute time here, so bear with me. Often a number of short sentences, staccato, can be replaced with one fluent sentence. Sentences that partially repeat the preceding sentence can often be combined for greater fluency. I see this problem a lot. For instance, John is a loyal employee. John is a motivated employee. John is short-tempered with his colleagues. We said John over and over, employee over and over. So you wrap them all up into one fluent sentence. Even though John is short-tempered with his colleagues, he is a loyal and motivated employee. Much better, right? Usually they're not as gross as John is a loyal employee, John is it's usually basically the first sentence, you write a sentence and the second sentence just almost repeating the first at the beginning. And I'll be telling you to combine your ideas for greater fluency if you're doing that. So oops, and that looks like the end of it. So we'll leave it at that. Let me bring up the time. Let's hope we made good time.